Part 131. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1301. Wang Zhenqiu was about to leave when he heard Zhao Xiaolan's words and glared, "You don't agree? What qualifications do you have to disagree? Just because I am Arya's biological mother." Zhao Xiaolan puffed up her chest and patted the snow on her body from wrestling. If it hadn't been for the heavy snow and difficult walking, it took her 2 days to find her destination, and she would have rushed there long ago. In the end, this wedding was prevented from happening. Everyone present looked at Zhang Arya in unison, worried that her mother was the second Wang Xiangmei. Wang Xiangmei's words and deeds are still vivid in their minds. Faced with this situation, Arya looked very calm. "I am an orphan." Her attitude was expressed in one sentence. Zhao Xiaolan was stunned at first, and then got angry. "Arya, what are you farting at? Your mother and I are living well, your father and your brother are waiting for you to come home. How dare you say that you don't have parents? You damn thing." She reached out and wanted to twist Arya's ears like she did 10 years ago, but Zhang He stopped her. "What are you doing?" Zhang He yelled, his eyebrows sharp. "We are orphans to begin with, and no one in our country knows it. You suddenly appeared, and you opened your mouth to take Arya away. Why?" Zhao Xiaolan was startled when she saw the huge crowd in Zhang He, and took 2 steps back, with a trace of fear on her face. However, she quickly went straight to Arya and said, "Zhang Arya, talk to me. Do you want to follow me? Shall I leave? I told you a good family, and you will be very popular in the future. How can you live a good life with this poor boy who has no father and no mother?" As she said that, Zhao Xiaolan glanced at Zhang He with disgust, but her eyes lit up when she saw the new clothes they were wearing. "Take off your clothes and take them away from me. Your father and your brother are worried about having nothing to wear. Take off your clothes. Why? Who do you think you are? I tell you, Zhang He and I are revolutionary comrades." Arya took Zhang He's hand and said slowly with a serious expression, "We swore an oath to the leader's portrait. Leaders witnessed our wedding. Do you think our wedding is a joke? Arya, I am your mother, and I am doing this for your own good. The in-law I found for you is from the city. What about city people? Are city people nobler than us country people?" Arya sneered and was about to continue talking when a boy of 16 or 17 hurried over and said loudly, "Second sister, don't agree. Don't listen to mother." The city man, she said, was a fool. Before, the meningitis was not cured and left sequelae, so the family wanted to spend a lot of money to find a wife to take care of their stupid son. Arya suddenly raised his head and looked at the young man who walked in. "Are you Xiaobao?" Arya's voice was trembling. Although he was already over 10 years old, Arya still recognized the brother she had brought up since childhood. A black birthmark under his left cheek grew older as he grew older. "Much older than when I was a child." "Yes, second sister, I am Xiaobao." Zhang Xiaobao nodded desperately, with a trace of guilt flashing in his eyes. "When I grew up, I asked about you and knew that you were living a good life here, so I didn't bother you. My brother, who is my classmate, came over secretly to take a look at you, but I don't know how my father and mother found out about your whereabouts. She and her father want to take you back to marry you, idiot Zheng, because they want the good conditions of the Zheng family. But you can't listen to them. I've heard that the second brother-in-law is very good. You should live a good life." Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1302. Wang Chenglong, who was watching, suddenly let out a sigh and recognized the black birthmark on Zhang Xiaobao's face. "You came to our brigade 2 years ago, right?" The high school student who helped our brigade during the farm work was Tianwan's former classmate. Wang Chenglong said this and clapped his hands. "Yes, that's you. I even came up and asked what you were doing here, and Tianjun's classmates said that you were just here to see how our team was doing, but it's a pity that the school is closed and you can't come to help. Zhang Xiaobao nodded towards Wang Chenglong. I recognize you too. Zhang Aria's eyes turned red after hearing this. Zhang He held her hand and understood her mood. She probably didn't expect that her brother would miss her after more than 10 years. This showed that her love and care for her brother back then were not in vain. After all, not all people are heartless. But Zhang's mother, Zhao Xiaolan, was different. She shouted to her son, Xiaobao, who asked you to come? Do you know that the snow on the ground is very thick and it is difficult to walk? I walked for 2 days and stayed at other people's houses halfway. I fell down several times and finally found this place. Did you fall somewhere after following me? Where did you rest at night? She took her son to greet him and looked him up and down, for fear of missing anything, acting like a loving mother. If I don't come, are you going to coax the second sister to marry that idiot Zhang? Zhang Xiaobao was very unhappy and threw her hand away. The eldest sister is older, can work, and will be able to go out soon. You just kick the second sister out, and marry the eldest sister to a man who is so bad that the soles of her feet bleed. She lives a life of neither human beings nor ghosts. Now that the second sister is living a human life, you come to destroy it? Arya was shocked when she heard this. Sister, she. Zhang Xiaobao ignored his mother's obstruction and said to Arya, the eldest brother-in-law is very bad. He always likes to drink. When he is drunk, he beats the eldest sister. Every time he beats the eldest sister till her nose is bruised and her face is swollen. My parents always make my eldest sister endure it, saying that I have to do it for the child. For the sake of the children. But I grew up very energetic. I found someone to put a sack on my eldest brother-in-law and beat him severely. He lay in bed for 3 months and couldn't get up. Now he doesn't dare to beat his eldest sister. He puffed up his chest and was very proud. Then, he said sternly to Zhang He, my second sister is very nice, and my second brother-in-law, you are also very good. I have asked about them all. You must treat your second sister well, otherwise I will treat you like your elder brother-in-law. I am very powerful of. Don't worry, I won't give you this chance, Zhang He replied seriously. Zhao Xiaolan and Zhang Xiaobao are completely different people, and Zhang He's attitude is naturally completely different. Although Arya didn't say it, Zhang He knew that she was very affectionate, otherwise he wouldn't have taken good care of his unrelated younger brothers and sisters. If his younger brother was an upright character, he might as well keep in touch with him. Who wouldn't want him to have a relative with whom you can interact normally? Forget about someone like Zhao Xiaolan, it would be better not to have such a parent. Zhang Xiaobao nodded and said to Arya, second sister, you and your brother-in-law live a good life. I will come to see you when I have the ability. My father and mother are with me, and I will not let them disturb you. Xiaobao, your father and I are doing this for your own good, Zhao Xiaolan said sharply, the person you are talking to has 36 legs. The Zheng family can provide these things, so there is no need to take them back. Why don't you understand me? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1303. After listening to Zhao Xiaolan's words, Zhang Xiaobao looked back at her and couldn't help but look angry. When did I have a partner? Why didn't I know? Do you know that I'm not an adult yet? Even if I have a partner, getting married is my own business, and you don't need to worry about it. If the eldest sister and the second sister's whole life are exchanged for my marriage, if it costs too much time, I might as well not get married because I feel shameless. Zhao Xiaolan opened her mouth, but she was about to say something but was interrupted by Zhang Xiaobao. If you say one more word and disturb the second sister's life again, I will not provide for you and your father in the future, and let you fend for yourself. Xiaobao. Zhao Xiaolan became anxious and grabbed him. Xiaobao, you can't do this. Why raise a son? Isn't raising a son just to have someone to rely on to take care of you in your old age? After listening to the conversation between mother and son, everyone became even more disgusted with Zhao Xiaolan, but had a somewhat favorable impression of Zhang Xiaobao. He knows how to protect his sister and how to stop his mother from doing bad things. His character is great. Just listen to Zhang Xiaobao say to his mother, I can. Anyway, you only have one son now. If you want me to provide for you in old age, come with me now and don't come here again. With that said, he shook off his mother's hand again, turned around and walked out. Zhao Xiaolan glared at Arya fiercely and chased him out. Xiaobao, wait for me, wait for me. Arya thought for a while, then raised her feet to follow up and asked Zhao Xiaolan how she knew she was here. She didn't feel at ease until the doubt was solved. She tightened her hands, but when she looked back, it was Zhang He who had caught her. Zhang He. Zhang He shook his head at her. There are still guests at home. When they lived in the ruined temple, the Zhang family and Guanchen's stepfather's biological mother's family lived on the same street, so there must be something in common between them. Only then did Arya remember that today was her wedding and everyone had not left, so she apologized to everyone. It doesn't matter, Feng Qingxiu said, with a faint smile on his face, although the appearance of outsiders makes today's wedding a bit imperfect, I still have to congratulate you here. As your brother said, the two of you will be good friends from now on. Living life is more important than anything else, and you must also keep your promise to stay together through thick and thin. Zhang He said solemnly, Aunt Chui, don't worry, we will definitely do it. Arya nodded, yes, Aunt Chui, our life is hard-earned. We will definitely cherish our current life and will not allow anyone to destroy our happiness. Everyone laughed and said one after another, that's right, living a good life is serious, everything else is trivial. After returning home, Feng Qingxiu said to Guancheng, whenever you have time, please remind Zhang He. What did you say? Guancheng was carrying the bear riding on his neck. Hearing this, he was stunned and didn't know why. You must not have the intention of harming others, and you must have the intention of guarding against others. Feng Qingxiu poured some warm water to feed Dun Dun and Zhuang, and said without raising her head, although Zhang Xiaobao's attitude was good when he spoke today, but his mother is not an easy person. I don't know who Arya's father is, nor how they found this place, so of course we have to be careful. Compared with Guancheng Guanyu's life experience, Arya's is easier to solve and there is no composition problem. However, Feng Qingxiu always feels uneasy and always feels that the Zhang family has some tricks up their sleeves, but she is not a very smart person. Guess the joints are not visible. Guancheng thought for a while and nodded, I will. I have two naughty children at home, so I will write here despite all the difficulties. Let's update it first, otherwise I'm afraid I won't be able to update it. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1304. A few days after Zhang He and Arya got married, the snow melted and it was New Year's Day. The chapter belonging to the 1960s has ended, and history has officially entered the 1970s, opening a new page. The weather was particularly good on New Year's Day, with blue sky and white clouds, and the sun felt warm on my body. Fathers and villagers appeared in groups in front of and behind the house, basking in the sun and chatting with bright smiles on their faces. Although we experienced various winds and rains last year, the harvest was not bad in the end and the food rations were not reduced. In the hearts of the people, there is no need to panic when there is food. Feng Qingxiu asked Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu to play with the triplets at the door. Lu's father, Zhou Fengshu and other elderly people were sitting at the door of the cowshed, always paying attention. Guanchang, Zibao, and Fuebao were further playing with Wenruyu and other elderly people. Study. After practicing calligraphy and painting for an hour, Feng Qingxiu stretched out. Feeling that today's meticulous painting was very good, she decided to show it to Wenruyu and listen to his comments. As soon as she rolled up the dried painting, she heard Dun Dun and Zhuang crying from the door. Voice. At this time, how could Feng Qingxiu care about high-level paintings? He opened the curtain and hurriedly ran out the door. He let go too quickly and the curtain fell back violently. When Feng Qingxiu arrived at the door, she saw Lu Tianzi holding Dun Dun and Guan Yu holding Zhuang. The two little guys were rubbing their eyes and crying out of breath. As for Xiang, he was standing proudly with his hands behind his back. On the ground, like a victorious little cock. What's wrong? Feng Qingxiu asked. Lu Tianzi said quickly, it's okay, auntie, it's just children fighting. Who made the move first? Feng Qingxiu hugged Dun Dun with one hand and Zhuang with the other. However, the two children were thickly dressed and heavy in weight. She couldn't hold them, so she squatted on the ground and hugged her two sons. Dun Dun, Zhuang, tell mom, why are you crying? The two brothers pointed at Xiang in unison, brother, beat me. The evil bear complained first, Mom, Dun Dun is bad, Zhuang is bad, you scratched my face, it's all scratched. Feng Qingxiu took a closer look and saw that there were indeed two shallow blood stains on the naughty boy's white, tender, and chubby face. One was on the left cheek near the nose, and the other was on the forehead. It should have been scratched by fingernails. Fortunately, Feng Qingxiu was very considerate and the nails of several children were cut very short. If they had grown their nails long, the nails might have been disfigured. Brother, grab my big tiger first, Zhuang bravely complained. Feng Qingxiu lowered her head and found that the cloth tiger carried by her youngest son was missing. She put her two sons down and turned behind Xiang. Sure enough, she saw that the brat was holding the faded cloth tiger in his hand. No wonder he kept his hands behind his back instead of crossing them as usual. Bend your waist. Two bears, Feng Qingxiu's eyebrows stood up. Xiang raised his face and showed an innocent smile, Mom, I am very good. You're such a good boy. Why did you steal my brother's cloth tiger? Where's your bear? Feng Qingxiu remembered that she sewed a brown bear for Xiang, just like the name, and he liked it very much and had a lot of fun all the time. Lu Tianzi pointed to the ground and raised his chin, hey, where is it? Guan Yu went over and picked it up, but it was covered with mud. It needs to be washed. Did Erxian think his bear was dirty when it fell on the ground, so he went to snatch the strong tiger? He thought he knew Xiang very well, and as soon as he finished speaking, Xiang nodded naturally. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1305. Who asked you to rob your brother's things? How many times have I told you? You are not allowed to rob other people's things. Come here and let me spank you. Feng Qingxiu was so angry that she spanked Xiang's ass. While covering her butt, Feng Qingxiu quickly caught the cloth tiger that fell from his hand, turned around and gave it to Zhuang. Mom, hit me. Xiang covered his butt and jumped up and down, circling Feng Qingxiu, and continued to shout loudly and repeatedly, Mom, hit me. You made me cry. I want to hit you. Feng Qingxiu's response was to spank him twice more, causing him to jump higher. He groaned and covered his face, it was just thunder but no rain. This child is always full of energy and very solid. Feng Qingxiu occasionally spanks him, but he never cries. The old people sitting at the door of the cowshed almost died laughing when they saw such a scene. Zhou Fengxue waved to Xiang and said, Xiang, come here. Grandpa will tell you a story. Don't you want to hear the story of the war? The result of the snow melting is a wet mud on the ground, which is difficult to dry out without a few days of sunshine. Grandpa, here I come. Seong Seong ran over and deliberately chose a place with a puddle. When he stepped down, mud splashed all over his body. He never tired of it and continued to stomp in the puddle. Seeing such a situation, Feng Qingxiu no longer had the energy to be angry. Tianzi, put it on his scars later. Don't leave any scars. Feng Qingxiu took out the aloe vera gel plug in the cream bottle from her pocket and gave it to Lu Tianzi, then brought Dun Dun and Zhuang Zhuang into the house. As soon as I stepped through the door, the postman's bell rang. Apart from the Lu family, only the educated youth in the educated youth group often received letters and things from home. Since they came in this direction, it must be from the Lu family. Feng Qingxiu quickly turned her head and went out instead of entering the house. Sure enough, the postman arrived and said, "Comrade Qingxiu, your letter and your package." Unlike the letters and parcels of the educated youths, which were mailed to the brigade before being distributed to them, the letters and packages of the Lu family were always sent to the Lu family. Feng Qingxiu's eyes sparkled. "Are you from Beizhu?" "Beizhu?" The postman scratched his forehead and glanced at the envelope in his hand. "No, one is from Jinling, two are from the capital, one is from the northeast, and one is from Tibet. Yesterday sent together." What a coincidence. The letters were sent at different times, but they arrived in Huihei City at the same time and were distributed downwards. Feng Qingxiu received 5 letters and asked Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu to take several packages into the house. Lu Tianzi first threw the bottle to Zhou Fengshu before coming to help. After thanking the postman, Feng Qingxiu took her children into the house to open letters and things. "Open the letter first." The letter is from Feng Qingyun, Lu Tianjun, Chen Suiniang, Hu Ping, and Guo Xiuying. "What did my aunt say in the letter? Has she returned to the army now?" Lu Tianzi asked this question because when they took Feng Qingxiu and her son home, Feng Qingyun was still performing outside with the cultural troupe. Feng Qingxiu was reading it, and was slightly startled after reading it. "What's wrong?" "Auntie," Guan Yu saw something was wrong with her expression and was very concerned. "It's okay," Feng Qingxiu sighed, and continued, "Xiaoun was singing while studying with Comrade Fang Ning and Comrade Yang, and it happened to be heard by the staff of the capital military region who went to Jinling to select outstanding literary and artistic workers. After investigation after her composition, she was immediately transferred to the capital military region art troupe. This letter was written before departure. I must have arrived in the capital by this time and asked them to pay attention. People with bad intentions bully Xiaoun. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1306. If it is gold, it will shine, no matter when and where. Although Feng Qingyun was very low-key under the protection of Fang Ning and Yang Fengying, she still could not hide her natural beauty and talents. Under the influence of her family, Feng Qingyun has both talent and beauty, and she is not a beauty who is beautiful on the outside but ruined on the outside. The temperament comes from the inside out and stands out naturally. Feng Qingxiu was not surprised that Feng Qingyun received attention from above. This matter was not without precedent. Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu listened to Feng Qingxiu's words and comforted, "Isn't my uncle in the capital military district? Don't worry, with so many people protecting you, there will definitely not be any unsighted person to bully my aunt. Bullying the good and fearing the evil has been like this since ancient times, not to mention the power of the word power. As the youngest army commander, Lu Zhang has an obvious future, and few people will offend him for no reason. Although your uncle is affiliated to the capital military district, he is not stationed in the capital, but in Beizhu, Hebei province, which is some distance from the capital Fengqingxiu, is not so optimistic. The capital is full of powerful people, and caution is paramount. Captain Bai, yes, I have to ask Commander Bai for help. I hope she will take care of Xiaoyun in life for Bai Shui's sake. At this moment, the importance of connections really comes to light. After so many ups and downs, Captain Bai is still standing, which shows his ability. There was nothing important in other people's letters. They were just buying some things to send to the children to replenish their health as New Year's Day was approaching, or making 2 clothes and shoes for the children. Only Guo Xiuying told Fengqingxiu that Lu Zhang and Ye, the army commander, has connected and has transferred the information of his wife and children with the army to Beizhu, Hebei province. All the food and oil relations have been transferred. The things that the family can send, including bedding, clothes, pots and pans, etc., have also been sent to Lu Zhang for help. They can go and reunite with Lu Zhang at any time. Moving so fast? Fengqingxiu smiled happily. She did not participate in this major event of relocation. She did not know that during the relocation of the troops, all family members accompanying the army accompanied the army, so it was only natural that Lu Zhang would transfer their mother and son's information to his location so quickly. Lu Jiang's letter arrived 3 days later, not long after Fengqingxiu's reply to everyone was sent. Lu Zhang said in the letter that everything has been settled and he wanted to celebrate the new year with his wife and children. Then go. Why are you not going? It's been almost a year since Fengqingxiu separated from her husband, and the thoughts in Fengqingxiu's heart are almost overflowing into an ocean. Zhuang's health has improved greatly, and he no longer catches colds frequently. If he takes the fastest train, it will not take long to reach his destination. Fengqingxiu also has another idea, to get closer to his sister after reuniting with her husband. Easy to contact. Fengqingxiu definitely couldn't take care of 5 children, so Lu's father asked the 3 Guancheng brothers to send them off and come back after the new year. Dad, aren't you going with us? Fengqingxiu frowned. Father Lu smiled and said, I won't go. My old bones can't stand the torment. However, Zibao and Fuebao must not miss their homework. If Zibao goes to school in the army next year, he will have to be sent back during the holidays. Continue studying. Fengqingxiu had already planned to let her eldest son enter school in the spring, so Father Lu said this. I'm coming back, Zibao suggested. I'm coming back after celebrating the new year with my dad. I want to learn a lot of interesting things from my grandparents. Will the school teach these things? Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1307. Probably not, Zibao thought. With the teacher turning a blind eye, he took several classes with the school children. The textbooks were full of content such as when drinking water, remember the well digger and the navigation of the sea depends on the helmsman. He remembered it after hearing it once, unlike what his grandparents taught him. He recognized many different words and could speak different languages. He liked it very much and also liked to learn calligraphy, painting, and mathematics from Grandpa Wen and Grandpa Jin. Father Lu was very surprised after hearing Zibao's words. Are you studying at home with your grandparents? Don't you live with your parents? Don't you want to leave your mother? He couldn't believe his grandson's decision and asked again, looking at him with burning eyes. Mom also learned from Grandpa. Zibao raised his eyebrows, pointed out the obvious fact, and then puffed up his chest. I have grown up. This shows that grandparents are more powerful. Moreover, in life, Fengqingxiu respected these old people everywhere, and the respect he showed naturally affected the children. Fengqingxiu respected the child's opinion and said, I'll ask him what he means after the new year. That's okay, maybe he just had a whim. Although Father Lu was very concerned about his grandson's homework, he also hoped that his son's family could live together. The relationship between living together is very different from the relationship between living in two places. Feng Qingxiu is more resolute, packing her things and leaving as soon as she wants. Mainly because they are used to coming and going, but the triplets are more excited. When they came home from the army, they were only over a year old and were not so curious about their surroundings. Now they are in their early 2 years and can express themselves, chatter and make a lot of noise. The most lively part of the train was probably the compartment where they lived. It was said that the 3 children were triplets, and the passengers in the adjacent compartment couldn't help but come to take a look. In this era, it is true that there are very few people who give birth to triplets, but there are almost no people who can raise them safely. Where are you ladies planning to go? Packed with bags, a middle-aged woman named Jin Hongjun in her 50s was holding Fubao in her arms, looking at the triplets grabbing things on the lower bunk, and then looking at Zibao, who was sitting on the upper bunk reading a book, said to Feng Qingxiu, "Your 5 children are so lovable, each with their own merits. If there was a child like this in my family, I would laugh out loud in my dreams." Feng Qingxiu pursed her lips and smiled. "That's when your head hurts until you see them fighting naughtily." After saying this, she answered Jin Hongjun's question and said, "Let's go to Beizhu. Just talk about the purpose and nothing else." Jin Hongjun was a little disappointed. "Then you have to get off the bus in front of me. I really can't bear to part with these treasures." "Where are you?" Feng Qingxiu asked smoothly. "Capital, I'm going to the capital." A smile appeared on Jin Hongjun's face. Among the 5 children, she especially liked the delicate Fubao, and continued, "I will leave you an address. Don't forget to write to me." "Okay," Fubao said loudly. She also liked Jin Hongjun very much. Feng Qingxiu thought that she and Jin Hongjun were just a chance encounter, but she didn't expect that she would get a lot of help from Jin Hongjun and her husband in the near future. But now she only cares about Lu Zhang, who came to pick them up. "Go to the Golden Red Army." "Dad," Fubao ran very fast when he saw Lu Zhang. Not to be outdone, the 2 bears jumped like a rabbit. Me. Dun Dun and Zhuang bit their fingers and rolled their eyes. To be honest, they had no impression of Lu Zhang. Even if they saw Lu Jiang's photos every day, they wouldn't recognize him. There is still a difference between photos and real people, especially since Lu Zhang is going through many vicissitudes now. I'll update a little first, and then I'll update again around 11 o'clock, because I have something urgent to do and go out. Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1308. I'm really thin and darker, and the wrinkles at the corners of my eyes are particularly obvious. Feng Qingxiu looked at her husband distressedly, and she could see how hard he had been in the past few months after the transfer. For Lu Zhang, management is more nerve-wracking than fighting. Lu Zhang held his daughter in one hand and his son Xiong in the other. When he approached his wife, if he hadn't been holding the child in both hands, he would have reached out and touched his face. There was a 10-year age gap, but now the couple looked like they were the same. 20 years difference. Thinking of this, Lu Jiang's face turned as black as ink. What would an outsider say? "Qingxiu," Lu Jiang called his wife, feeling a little guilty. Feng Qingxiu looked at him sideways and knew that he didn't use the skincare products she prepared for him. However, "It's good," Feng Qingxiu snickered, "this can reduce the little girl's liking for him. If his power, appearance, and temperament are all perfect, he will definitely become a piece of fat that the little girl will target." Although relatively speaking, the atmosphere of this era is far more simple and kind than a few decades later. However, even if the styles of men and women are very strict, there are always many girls who try to become a phoenix through marriage. It's just that the flow of information at that time was not as developed as it was in later generations, so people thought it was none or less. Therefore, Feng Qingxiu generously forgave Lu Zhang for not being obedient and taking good care of himself. "Has our home been allocated? Has it been packed up? Can we move in directly? Feng Qingxiu asked. She was more concerned about her future home. According to Lu Jiang's work, they will not move for at least 2 years. Okay, okay, everything is packed. Lu Jiang's relieved look made Zibao laugh out loud. Dad, you're afraid of Mom, he pointed out the fact. Lu Jiang glared at him. Nonsense, who said I'm afraid of your mother? Do you look at my face like I'm afraid of your mother? Picture. After hearing Zibao's words, Xiong followed, like. He reached out and patted Lu Jiang's face, then quickly pulled back, frowning and saying, prick your hand. Lu Jiang was so angry that he threw his bare son into Guancheng's arms. He held his daughter and squatted in front of Dun Dun and Zhuang with a very gentle attitude. Dun Dun, Zhuang, do you still recognize Daddy? Dad, the two brothers looked up at Feng Qingxiu at the same time. Feng Qingxiu couldn't help but lower her head and smile. Yes, don't you recognize the dad in the photo? No, the two brothers shook their heads at the same time. At this time, they looked like twins, and they were in tune with each other. Xiong kicked his legs, quickly slipped out of Guanzhen's arms, ran to Lu Jiang, put his hands on his hips and said, I have it, Dad, why don't you call me? I'm Xiong. I know you are a naughty boy, apart from this family, there is no other semicolon. No wonder Qingxiu always calls him a naughty boy in his letters. Lu Jiang's guard Ping Zhenkai snorted, the leader's children are so funny and all of them are quirky. Only then did Feng Qingxiu notice the guards and 3 drivers following her, and smiled sheepishly, I made you laugh. No, they all saluted with a military salute. Sister-in-law, your little comrades are so cute. Are the 3 babies really triplets? The youngest one doesn't look alike, but he's just as good looking. The person who asked this question was Ping Zhenkai, who had a livelier temperament. They looked at Lu Jiang and then at Feng Qingxiu, wondering in their hearts, isn't this sister-in-law too young? He looks at least 20 years older than Lu Jiang. Fortunately, Lu Jiang didn't know what they were thinking, otherwise he would have drilled them to the point where they couldn't get up. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Back to the 60s, The Struggle Career of a Charmed Wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1309. As parents, they most like to hear people praise their children, and Feng Qingxiu is no exception. You only see that they look cute, but they are actually very skinny. You will know later. Feng Qingxiu smiled, it's so cold outside and the wind is strong. Let's go back quickly. I really want to see the future soon address. The most important thing is that she is afraid of strong wind and cold. Although his strong body has gradually returned to the level of a normal child, his physique is still weaker than that of his older brothers and sisters. Yes, get in the car quickly. As soon as Lu Jiang finished speaking, Xiong took the lead in climbing onto the car, with quick and agile movements, shouting, car. Several children wanted to follow their parents, but one car could not accommodate the whole family. Finally, after a long discussion, Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu took the triplets in a car, and Guancheng took Zibao and Fuebao. I took a car with the security guard, and the only other car left was Lu Tianzi and Guan Yu. They didn't care. As soon as he got off the bus, Lu Jiang saw Chen Rong, Lu Cheng, and others craning their necks to wait. Recently, they had been in contact with Zhou Fengshu through Lu Jiang Feng Qingxiu's correspondence. They had heard about the names of several of their children for a long time, so they came to see their true faces in Lushan while the troops were idle. Of course, they also want to meet Lu Jiang's revolutionary partner Feng Qingxiu. Lu Jiang's rejection of Han Aguo's words at the dance last year has long been known to everyone. Who doesn't want to see Feng Qingxiu's ability and charm to make Lu Jiang directly ask the old leader to make the decision for him? Hey, Comrade Lu, when did you get married at this young age? Chen Rong and Lu Jiang got acquainted, and their true colors suddenly showed. Among the Long Live army, Chen Rong is the most approachable general. Many of the soldiers who follow him are a little bit old and young. They came here to join in the fun today. A large group of people stretched their heads and looked this way. Feng Qingxiu said curiously, "Old comrade, how old do you think I am?" "Let me tell you, I am not young. Looking at your appearance, you must be in your 20s. I think you are more than 20 years younger than Comrade Lu Jiang. Did you get married before you reached the age? It is a great advantage to Comrade Lu Jiang. No wonder he often thinks about it." "You mothers," Chen Rong smiled, but his eyes fell on Fu Bao and couldn't help but said, "Hey, how can this little girl be so handsome?" Feng Qingxiu was happy, but Lu Jiang's face turned darker, and he shouted, 10 years, we are only 10 years apart." 10 years old, seeing Lu Jiang nod, Chen Rong shook his head, "I must be lying. I believe my eyes. The age difference you mentioned must be doubled, even more than doubled." Feng Qingxiu was elated when she heard this, and Zhuang Chuang, who was wrapped in her military coat, giggled along with her. Fu Bao happily ran up to Chen Rong, looking up at his pretty face, "Grandpa, my name is Lu Tianhui, and my nickname is Fu Bao." Hearing the sweet voice, Chen Rong was filled with joy. He immediately picked her up, pointed at Lu Jiang and Feng Qingxiu and said, "Little Fu Bao, do you think marrying your mother is your father's blessing?" "I am my parents' blessing, I am everyone's blessing," Fu Bao said with a smile. Xiong didn't want to be ignored. He pulled Chen Rong's military coat and jumped on the ground alternately with his 2 feet. Hug me, Grandpa, hug me. I'm very good, hug me." "Can I hug you?" Lu Jiang said with a dark face. Xiong looked back at him, turned his head, and flatly refused, "No." Back to the 60s, the struggle career of a charmed wife. Author, Ning Xiaobai. Chapter 1310. Is this something a child can decide? No. Lu Jiang directly carried the naughty son on his shoulders. "Qingxiu, let's go home. We will pack up another day before visiting some seniors and sisters-in-law who arrived before you." Okay, Feng Qingxiu had long been looking forward to returning home. Chen Rong and Lu Cheng helped the one holding the child and the one carrying the luggage without any pretensions, which made the Guancheng brothers excited, because in the stories of Zhou Fengshu and others, these two people in front of them were all experienced. The great hero of war. Zibao followed Lu Cheng with bright eyes. "Grandpa, you have beaten Lao Mei, right? I really like hearing your stories." "Me? Story?" Lu Cheng lowered his head and looked at the little boy in front of him, whose sword-shaped eyebrows and starry eyes looked very similar to Lu Jiang's. "Yes, Grandpa Zhou said, it's hard work for you to cross the Yalu River to fight against the Americans." When mentioning Zhou Fengchu, Zibao lowered his voice consciously. "Grandpa Zhou said you are one of the commanders, you are so powerful, good Wei Feng, when I grow up, I also want to be a soldier, I also want to fight, and kill all the bad guys who bully the people of our country and invade our country's territory." Okay, have ambition, Lu Cheng likes ambitious children. While they were talking, they arrived at the family compound. The buildings here are much better than those of the border guards, with rows of bungalows. Given Lu Jiang's rank, the army allotted the family members a 4-room bungalow with a yard, complete with water and electricity, a kitchen, and a toilet. However, a tree in the yard seemed to have been cut down, leaving only its roots. "There was trouble in the past few years," Chen Rong said. The walnut trees in the Zishan military region compound in the capital were completely cut down. Feng Qingxiu had an impression of Zishan courtyard. The Zhang family lived there. It was the location of the troops stationed in Beijing, and it was also the most famous military compound. Whether you had the chance to live in it would depend on Lu Jiang's ability. The house was very clean, and many of the things were familiar and had been sent from the border guard. My gun, Zibao was surprised and delighted. He took 3 steps at a time and picked up his childhood treasure. Xiong jumped up and stretched out his arms to grab it. I want it, give it to me, give it to me. This wooden gun was played very smooth, and Zibao didn't play with it much when he grew up. And Fubao didn't like boys' toys when he was a child, so after seeing each other for several years, Zibao never let go. If Zibao is not given, Xiong will jump, but he is short and cannot reach it no matter how long he stretches his arms. Brother, big brother, give it to me, give it to me, Xiong screamed anxiously, his little face turned red. Here you go, Zibao decided to hate Lu Erxian. Feng Qingxiu couldn't care less about the dispute between their brothers. The first thing she did when she got home was to take out the food and vegetables she had brought and prepare to cook. Lu Jiang didn't have the majesty of an army commander at this time. He was wearing an apron and his wife was busy. Chen Rong and Lu Cheng looked at each other. Neither of them expected that Lu Jiang would be like this after returning home. Look at Lu Jiang's craftsmanship again. Oh, it's not bad. Full of color and fragrance. Feng Qingxiu put a plate of fried peanuts on the table and asked Chen Rong and Lu Cheng to wash their hands and eat. Our family grows some peanuts every year, and we also grow some on our own land. Uncle Joe asked us to bring them to some seniors. I bought some and some melon seeds. After dinner, we packed up our luggage and took them back to the 2 old comrades. Only things, no letters. Chen Rong was more concerned about this than the things. They were in a high position and lacked nothing but news about Zhou Fengchu. I've written 3.5 chapters, but I can't finish 4. I'm so angry that I have to go out. I'll update it tonight.